Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Phillip Rivers' 11th son, Perna. Seems like I have to update that statement every year, and I'm always off by one child. I am Brandon Phillip Rivers' 10th son, Perna. Today, it's all about the Chargers offseason. From free agency to the draft, did they improve their team? My question, like I had for the Chiefs, is, are they good enough to beat the Patriots in the playoffs now? Those are the answers I am seeking in Hobo with a Shotgun 2. Phillip Rivers, Hobo in Shotgun 2. A coming-of-age story as a bunch of vagabonds rise to the top while battling daily traffic in LA. Can the Chargers bring the StubHub Center the glory it deserves? That's good sports. And if you're interested in the okayest football coverage on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. Also, this episode is sponsored by my friends from Manscaped.
Aerospace engineers got bored after they conquered outer space, so they decided to focus their brain power in a more important direction, designing skin-safe technology that makes manscaping easy for everyone. From the lawnmower to the plow to the new out-of-this-world crop mop ball wipes, the universe is vast, which means there's probably alien life forms out there somewhere. Use Manscaped ball wipes so the alien life forms don't grow below the belt. They're also handy for polishing your space helmet. Like the parts on a spaceship, the ceramic blade on the Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0 is easily replaceable. If Tom Hanks can fix Apollo 13 without gravity, you can swap parts on your pube mower. Men, if you want to be cleared for liftoff, keep it trim and keep it fresh down there with Crop Mop Ball Wipes. Save 20% with promo code SPORT20 or my link in the description for your manscaping kit today.
Philosophical question. What is the best job in sports? Being an above-average kicker on a perennially bad football team? Being the second or third best bench player on a playoff-caliber NBA team? Or being Phillip Rivers? All of those positions allow the athlete to play the game they love at a high level without the high expectations. We expect Phillip Rivers to be good every year, but nobody ever expects him to win in the postseason or criticizes him when he loses. He's been a football loser so long, he gets a pass. A sidearm, surprisingly accurate pass. That being said, the best job in sports is actually being the horse who gets to kill his jockey after the jockey loses a race. And just like you, your life shall be cut short, jockey. Kentucky Derby. Relevant. Speaking of not killing horses, how did you lose to the Broncos in November, Chargers? The Chargers seemed like the most stable, horse reference again, team this offseason, adding and losing the least amount of players, at least in the AFC West, which is probably the right approach for a 12-4 team. You hear that, 2016 Oakland Raiders? The 2018 Chargers built on the previous season's strong finish and went 12-4, which wasn't quite good enough to win the AFC West, but plenty good enough for a wildcard spot. Phillip Rivers had a near MVP season, throwing 32 touchdowns to go with 4,300 passing yards and a 68 completion percentage, and a new ability to drink from 2 cups at the same time. 2 cups, 1 QB. Sticking on the offensive side of the ball, Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen both had strong seasons. As Gordon struggled through injuries, Austin Eckler was there to pick up the slack in the backfield, forming what should be a poor man's Ingram and Kamara in 2019. And Derwin James was right up there with Darius Leonard and Bradley Chubb as the strongest defensive rookie of the year candidates. Antonio Gates added 333 yards and 2 touchdowns to his career stat line, all while Stephen A. Smith watched absolutely 0 Chargers games in 2018. LA's success did have some help though, including an unbearably easy schedule, and the referees blatantly ignoring false starts on 2 touchdowns in 2 close games. But give them credit for navigating through teams like the Bills, the Raiders, Broncos kind of, and 49ers and Cardinals on their way to the playoffs, where of course they got to face Lamar Jackson. Sure enough, they hung on to win that game, holding Joe Flacco to 0 yards and 0 touchdowns in the process, and then went on to New England, where the game was over in roughly 10 minutes. Here's what kills me about the Los Diegos Chargers. For the first time in my human existence, I rooted for you in the playoffs. Back-to-back weeks, I sided with the Devils in the West, pulling for you and the Chiefs to defeat the greater evil, the greatest evil, the fucking Patriots. Maybe I am the curse here, but you Chargers gave up 35 first half points by sitting in a soft zone defense all game, just a week after Gus Bradley masterfully put together a game plan to stifle Lamar Jackson and the dumb Ravens offense. I have never been so baffled by a bad game plan in my life, and that includes Tonya Harding's game plan to win the 1994 figure skating Olympics. But we must move on from great tragedy, or it will haunt us forever. So, key losses this offseason for the Chargers. The biggest loss may have been Derwin James' dignity after allowing Lamar Jackson to nearly joust off his head in the playoffs. James was able to re-sign his noggin to a 5-year deal. As mentioned, the Chargers didn't have many key departures this offseason. They did lose corner Jason Verrett, but he's been injured since Rivers was only a father of 5. So that's like leaving a city with fans that stopped showing up to your games long ago. Poignant. They also lost Tyrell Williams to the Raiders in free agency, who had 1,000-yard season back in 2016, but had just 653 yards last year with 5 touchdowns. Luckily for Tyrell, the Raiders are willing to overspend at literally any position John Gruden deems valuable that day. Jaleel Adai is also gone, but given the options they have at safety post-draft, that shouldn't be a big blow for them, and defensive tackle Corey Liuget also gone, likely signing with the Patriots so he can sack Phillip Rivers this postseason. Now we do the key offseason additions. Some people were speculating that the biggest addition this offseason would have been quarterback Josh Rosen, given that Phillip Rivers is entering the season at age 37 and LA has yet to figure out his successor. They are possibly just stalling until one of his many sons comes of age. Like the firstborn son of a king in line to inherit the kingdom from his father. Yet, there is no kingdom for the Chargers. Obviously, that never came to fruition because Rosen is in Miami and the Chargers ended up signing Tyrod Taylor to back up Rivers, which I think was a really underrated move despite the fact that Rivers is an Iron Man and has never missed a start since 2006. If Tyrod has to come in and win a game, I am very confident he can do that for the Chargers. At this point, though, Rivers is 37 years old with 38 kids and could easily step on a particularly sharp Lego or slip on a fidget spinner and miss a game while doctors try and surgically remove a Tonka truck from his rectal anus. They also added Panthers Iron Man Thomas Davis, linebacker, to the middle of their defense. Davis is 36 years old himself with as many surgeries as Rivers has offspring, but it's a fairly low-risk move with just $1.25 million in guaranteed money. Like a nice wine, though, Davis seems to get better with age and pairs well with a Denzel Perryman, who is back on a new 2-year deal. Usually, when you switch from a Luke to a Denzel, it's an upgrade. Unfortunately for Davis, that's not true here. So only 2 real free agent signings, but they do get Jalen Watkins back from injury for some extra depth at safety, and did a good job re-signing many of their players to team-friendly deals. Finally, it's worth noting that the Chargers are getting Hunter Henry back at tight end, which Stephen A. Smith correctly predicted 6 months ago. Between Henry, Lamp, and Verrett, the Chargers have quite possibly the worst luck with young, ultra-talented players staying healthy. It's like they're all Samuel L. Jackson from Glass, and after one Super Bowl trip decades ago, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong keeps ruining the ending of every Chargers season. The plot twist this year, Forrest Lamp stops letting his girlfriend coach him at practice and he becomes an all-pro. As is tradition in these videos, the Chargers are getting a B for their draft. For LA, the B stands for be careful not to get your expectations set too high for this team forever. Their first pick in the draft smartly addressed the defensive line and Notre Dame's tackle Jerry Tillery. Their second round pick was Delaware safety Nasir Adderley, or as he will be known here, Nasir Adderley. Also, since he played at Delaware, his name will always be followed by this clip from Wayne's World.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Finally, in round 3, they get offensive line help, selecting Trey Pipkins, who sounds like he lives in the Shire, from Sioux Falls. Pick 4, Drew Tranquil, linebacker, Notre Dame. Hopefully you can call him the Tranquilizer when he knocks dudes out cold a la Sean Merriman. Just pray his celebration dance isn't turning off a light switch. LA then wasted a 5th round pick on North Dakota quarterback Easton Stick. Should have been O-line again. Round 6, defensive end from Houston, Miki Egbule, who should confuse everyone when he rotates in with Uchenna Nwosu. And finally, Cortez Broughton, defensive tackle, Cincinnati, in the 7th. Again, I understand why the Chargers would be hesitant to invest a high draft pick on offensive line talent after they purchased a broken Forest lamp in 2017. Maybe they can call Sean Merriman and have him switch the lamp on. Again, I like the Jerry Tillery pick. A lot, actually. But I really don't understand why they didn't take Florida's Jawan Taylor or K-State's Dalton Reisner with their first pick. Either would be an instant upgrade at right tackle, and assuming Lamp has pieced himself back together and is ready to illuminate the offensive line in a positive light, the Chargers would have a respectable front heading into 2019. Instead, it remains thrust upon the shoulders of Michael Schofield. A really good offensive line would turn the Chargers into a force to be reckoned with. I believe that. They've got the receivers, the running backs, and the quarterback. Their issue is always offensive line. Breakout players the Chargers need. Now, he already had an impact last year, but look for an increased role on the outside for wide receiver Mike Williams now that Tyrell Williams is gone. Mike Williams had the quietest 10 touchdowns in the league last year as a red zone target, so pretty much one more good season will make him the greatest Mike Williams of all time. My step-up 3D player needs to be cornerback Trevor Williams. A big reason Tyrell Williams was allowed to leave is there were too many fucking Williams on the roster. Trevor had a really good 2017 season playing opposite Casey Hayward, and it would be nice for one Hayward to do something God knows the one in Boston isn't. Hayward and slot corner Desmond King are two of the best in the business. So Williams is going to be the guy quarterbacks pick on. He suffered a knee injury late last season that landed him on IR. His replacement, Michael Davis, actually played better than him in my opinion, giving up just 1 touchdown and 130 more coverage snaps. Williams, though, is the projected starter. I think there will be a competition at this position, and hopefully that brings out the 2017 Trevor Williams we all grew to love. Even though, let's be honest, nobody knows who Trevor Williams is. So my prediction for the 2019 Chargers season. Last year, my writing partner Will Keys called the Chargers frauds that wouldn't win the AFC West. Technically, he was correct. This year, they still have to compete with Kansas City and hopefully an improved Denver team in the division. They're going to have a tougher schedule, a slightly older Phillip Rivers, and whether or not that makes any difference, we don't know. But I don't think they replicate their 12-4 record, probably closer to 10-6. It's hard to imagine Rivers playing better than he did last season, and I say that believing he will play really well. He and Patrick Mahomes are in the same boat there. Their biggest crux was uncruxed when they found kicker Michael Badgley, who made 93.8% of his field goals in the regular season and was the #1 reason they beat the Ravens in the playoffs, making 5 of 6 field goals in that game. Strangely, former Chargers kicker and international hero Young Ho-Koo made every single one of his field goals for the Atlanta Legends during the short-lived AAF season. If second-round pick Nasir Adderley is half as good as Derwin James, LA could have the best secondary in the AFC West. Chris Harris pending, still in Denver. It is an odd-numbered year, which means Joey Bosa should play a full season. Melvin Ingram's production nosedived without Bosa's giant nose on the field last year, assuming Bosa and Ingram play close to their 2017 outings. With what should be a better secondary behind them, the difference maker for the Chargers defense in 2019 will be that D-line. If rookie Jerry Tillery, Brandon Mebane, and Uchenna Nwosu in his second season, which is when good defensive linemen usually make a leap in performance, find ways to collapse that pocket, the Chargers could get back into the top 10 for sacks and defensive pressures. They were tied for 5th in 2017, but dropped to 19th last year. That's the reason their secondary didn't look as dominant and had 5 fewer interceptions in 2018. As a Chargers fan, not seeing that dominant pass rush had to be one of the most disappointing aspects of the 2018 season. Regardless of their success, regardless of having one of the most talented rosters in the AFC, the Chargers will remain the least popular team in the AFC West. Hell, a Super Bowl appearance hardly did anything for the Rams. So good luck, Los Diegos, and pray that you don't play the Patriots, the Chiefs, or the Colts in the playoffs if you make it back. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna. Make sure you follow my writing partner at Wilkie6 on Twitter for his hot, super hot sports takes, LaCroix takes, and that's it. That's all. And movie takes.